House. This is March 28th, 1998. Just to show you a little bit about the Opera House. Tonight at 7:30 p.m., the Harmonicats Revived will make their debut performance on this very stage. Seating in the Opera House is approximately 500. And we hope to have a packed house. Do know that 2 balconies, box seats, are sold out already. Cedar Opera House was refurbished in 1994, opened its doors Labor Day of 1994. A lot of the original seating, flooring, has been left in the Opera House, and it is the Harmonicats' distinct privilege to be here this evening. Performance begins at 7:30 p.m.
Now hold your hand. There are 3 gentlemen in this group: George Miklas Collection and Phil Caltabellotta. This is a group that has gotten back together after a period of time. In your program, there's a nice write-up about it, and I think I'll give you an opportunity to read it rather than me stand up here and tell you what it says. With that, I'd like to introduce to you the Harmonicats Revived.
Opera House. We think we have a great crowd, and we see a lot of smiling faces out there, okay. I think. But anyway, the song we just performed was entitled Perfidia, and it was done some years back. In fact, it was from a motion picture. It was called Casablanca, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. Okay, for our next number, we would like to play a medley of tunes. Beautiful melodic tunes. I'm sure you all know them. first one was done by Al Martino some years back, and it is called Spanish Eyes. And the second one, for all you newlyweds out there, Strangers in the Night. Selection has to do with a medley of tunes, but this medley was written for a Broadway play some years back. It was a terrific Broadway play, and it had to do with people who came from a village of Anatevka. And it was about the Jewish culture and the hardships that they had encountered. And this little village had many interesting situations going on. It had starred Zero Mostel some years back. And this is our rendition of A Fiddler on the Roof. Fiddler on the Roof. Sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? Well, you're right. Because that's not a fiddle. That's a harmonica. We're harmonica players, and this is a medley of tunes all about the little village of Anatevka, who, like fiddlers on the roof, tried to scratch out a pleasant tune without breaking their necks. It isn't easy, but they do it. And why do they do it? I can tell you in one word. Tradition. In Anatevka, they have a tradition for everything. How to eat, how to sleep, how to work. Now you may wonder, how did this tradition get started? Well, I'll tell you. I don't know. But it's a tradition, and because of this tradition, everyone in Anatevka knows who he is and what God expects him to do. And that's tradition. Now, in the circle of the little village, there are many, many, many types. For instance, there's Sammy the tailor, Jaime the butcher, Solomon the candlestick maker. But the best known of all is Yente, the matchmaker. Of all the people in Anatevka, there was none quite like Tevi. Tevi was a man who nothing in life could down, and he considered himself to be a man of great learning. In fact, his speech was practically a series of quotations from the Holy Book, mostly misquotations. But he had a close relationship with God, and often carried on conversations like this. Dear God,
What?
I know you made many, many poor people, and I realize it's no shame to be poor, but it's no great honor either. So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune?
To continue on with our program, we do represent two members of the former Jerry Murad's Harmonicats. Al Data on the chord harmonica, and myself on the bass harmonica. And my name is George Miklas. We were the last associates to work with the famed Harmonicats, the group that recorded Peg on My Heart in 1947. And later in the show, we will present this for you. We are going to continue, though, with a recorded arrangement by yet another harmonica player in the country vein. Anybody like country music here in Cedarville? Charlie McCoy. Charlie McCoy is a graduate of the Berklee School of Music. He holds several undergraduate music degrees as well as master's and PhD in music performance. He is coined the fastest harp in the South. And in just a moment, we're going to see if Phil can beat his speed. Charlie McCoy, you may recognize from the credits of the television production of Hee Haw. Charlie McCoy is the music director. Fastest harp in the South, here is Phil Caltabellotta with Charlie McCoy's recorded version of the Orange Blossom Special. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, I did mention earlier Mr. Al Data on the stage left, and he will now introduce his harmonica and tell you where he is from and a little bit about himself.
I'll speak to this mic. The instrument that I'm holding is called a chord harmonica. Basically, this is the granddaddy of all the harmonicas that in our little ensemble. It's approximately 23 and some odd inches in length, and it's a combination of two single harmonicas joined together to make one. It retails in the stores for approximately $1,200 to about $1,500. And yeah, it's quite expensive. And they do wear out. You've got to watch these things and take care and maintain them quite often. But basically what it is, it's a rhythm accompaniment. It takes the place of instruments such as the guitar, the drums, the cymbals, the piano, and other rhythm instruments that you will find in any band. And basically, like I said, it's a rhythm instrument. I just like to give you just a little bit of what we do with rhythm. We're going to continue with identification of the instruments, and we're going to turn you over to George, and he's going to say something about the bass. George?
My name is George Miklas, and I do play the bass harmonica. Since the Harmonicats had organized in the 40s, I was the youngest member to become a Harmonicat. In 1984, at age 19, I played the chord harmonica, that one, with the Harmonicats on 2 tours, the second of which ending with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. And in my career as a harmonica player, there is not one performance that matches that one with the whole symphony orchestra. The beautiful violins, the woodwinds, the brass. Oh, what a feeling playing this instrument that many would maybe think of as a folk instrument, less of an instrument than the orchestra. But as you are witnessing here tonight, oh, what a sound it makes. The bass harmonica does round out the tones of the harmonica trio. It has the range of the bass violin or the bass guitar, and its function is the same as the pedals on the organ or the tuba in the band. And here's what the bass harmonica sounds like all by itself. In May of 1996, Al and I had a day of mourning, and that was the day that the great Jerry Murad passed away. It took us 2 years to find a chromatic harmonica player who could play the recorded favorites without doing anything to the reputation of Mr. Jerry Murad. I would like to proudly introduce to you tonight Mr. Phil Caltabellotta.
George just explained the 2 accompaniment instruments and what they do. My harmonica supplies the melody. It would be equivalent to a guitar playing lead or a saxophone or a clarinet. It plays all the single notes, the melody. And it's called the chromatic harmonica. It has 4 octaves, and it has a slide, which produces my sharps and flats, which would be equivalent to the black keys on a piano, if you will. And I'll give you a little demonstration of what the instrument sounds like.
And now it's the song that many of you came here to hear. Recorded after midnight in 1947. Recorded on the backside of a 78 RPM record. It became an overnight success. It hit simultaneously in 3 different cities across the country. Here is Al Data to start the solo of the famous recording. Here is Peg of My Heart.
Thank you very much. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. Our next number bases on the classical, if you will. It was written by a great harmonica player from England, and his name is Tommy Riley. And it is called Valsentino. Next selection of tunes, we like to perform a number for you that has a very romantic flavor. It's a very beautiful number, and it shows the great Aldata's prowess on the chord harmonica, along with the great George Miklas. And it was about a motion picture written some years back about two medical students who were very much in love but had many other problems in life which interfered in their relationship. And the motion picture movie song was entitled, Tender is the Night. next number is a very popular one. It was a very, very popular number in the late 60s. It really moves. It's a great song. I think just about everyone knows it. It was done by the great Tom Jones some years ago, and it's entitled Love Me Tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Our next number is another very upbeat type tune. And this will be our closing number for this half. It was from a Mexican movie, I guess in the late 50s. It's a great number, dynamic number, and it's called Pepe. very much. That was the long-range theme, better known as Rossini's William Tell Overture. Our next selection is a number that was made popular some years back by the late Bobby Darin. It's a real swinging number. We think it's great, and it's called Mac the Knife.
Back in the early 70s, the original Harmonicats with the first replacement bass player, that would be Dick Gardner. He took the place of Don Les in 1970, but it was in 1972 that the Harmonicats took a European tour. And on that European tour, they spent several weeks in Paris, France. And when they returned to the States, they put together a medley of songs, very common folk songs in Paris. Here is the Harmonicats recorded version called Parisienne Fantasy.
next number was one of the great hits that Jerry Murad's Harmonicats had. Oh, I guess it was around 1960 or so. It's a Latin number. And it was a trumpet solo one time in the early 50s. It was very famous, and Jerry took it up once again, and it was a good hit for those guys in around 1960, 61. And it's called Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White. Our next number is a very beautiful arrangement. It was from a romantic theme to one of the love stories, motion pictures, and it's called A Kiss to Build a Dream On, featuring the great Al Dano on chord solo. next number is a Latin number. Terrific number. Has a nice bounce to it. It is called none other than Granada.
Tonight. We sure do appreciate such a lively audience in this grand old auditorium. We're going to close our show this evening with a well-known favorite, authentically known as El Choclo, but more commonly known as the Kiss of Fire. harmonicas once again. We do have one more. Here is Who's Sorry Now?